Welcome. In this video, will Xcn coin rise continue? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and please watch to the end to understand. You will remember from my past analysis videos, we drew a very critical downtrend structure that attracted attention on the chart at a certain time and talked about the effects of this trend on the price in detail. Now, we see that the price has reached that important trend line that we drew at that time and touched it again, as if testing this technical level. This is no ordinary touch because in technical analysis, such major trendline touches are often the points where market participants prepare to take positions intensively. Downtrend lines are formed when the price of an asset makes successively lower highs, and this line usually acts as a strong resistance. Each time it makes contact, there is a pullback in price as sellers regain strength at these levels and continue to suppress buyers. But every downtrend has a lifespan, and sooner or later the price will start to gather momentum to break out of it. And this is where we are right now. The price has reached the very limit of this long-standing downtrend, and the chart is whispering quietly that a new story is about to begin. What happens after this contact could actually shape the price behavior in the coming days. Because if the price manages to break this falling trend line with strong volume, determination, and upward momentum, it will mean that the market has broken the pressure it has been trapped in for a long time. In other words, we will be talking about a movement that breaks its chains. In technical analysis, such breakouts are often considered as starting points for new and bigger price moves. So what could happen if this breakout happens? First of all, it's important to note that such a breakout would send a message to market participants that the pressure is off and the way is clear for an uptrend. This message, in turn, boosts investor confidence, triggers new position entries, and sets the stage for a stronger price rally, often accompanied by an increase in volume. Especially if the price exhibits an upward structure after making this breakout and manages to make a new higher high, it becomes technically possible to talk about the beginning of an uptrend. However, there are some details to be careful about here. Even if the breakout occurs, there must be strong volume support behind it for it to be permanent and healthy. Otherwise, the price may make a fake breakout and dive below the trend line again. Therefore, it would be a sign of a healthy rise if the price returns to this trend line after the breakout and tests it as a support. That is a retest. If this test is successful, that is, if the price starts to rise again with support, then we have a bullish scenario that is both technically and psychologically sound. Moreover, this breakout will not only mean breaking a technical barrier, it will also mean a transformation in market psychology. Price action, which has been suppressed for a long time, will break through this level and send a message to investors that the bearish period is over. This message may cause investors who were afraid of this level and hesitant to buy in the past to enter the market. So, we will not only be talking about a technical breakout, but also a change in the collective perception of the market. In conclusion, this falling trend line, which we drew and analyzed in detail in the previous video, is now back on the scene. The price has touched this important barrier. If it breaks this level strongly to the upside in the coming time frame, this could be the beginning of not only a short-term rally, but perhaps a longer and sustainable bull run. But we need to look not only at trends, but also at other metrics. Stay tuned. When we approach the chart in the context of Elliott wave theory, it is possible to observe that the current price movements actually reflect the big picture more clearly. When we look at the previous wave patterns, we see that the first two waves have been completed, and the price is currently moving in the third wave structure. This third wave is considered to be one of the strongest and longest lasting waves of the Elliott wave theory, and it is usually the period that offers traders the greatest profit opportunities. At this point, the price has already surpassed the theoretical target level of 1,618 and has now reached the 2,272 Fibonacci level. The 2,272 Fibonacci extension level is often targeted in Elliott analysis in scenarios where the third wave is strong. Reaching this level indicates that a very important threshold has been crossed, not only technically, but also in terms of investor psychology. This is because prices at this point show that the market has strong momentum and that buyers still have confidence in the market. More importantly, if this level is breached, the next target will now be much higher. For example, at the Fibonacci projection levels, which are much wider, such as 3,272. These levels are not only theoretical targets, but also one of the areas that prices have frequented in previous bull runs of a similar nature. As of now, the price may be exhibiting a short-term consolidation in this area after reaching the 2,272 level. This is a normal process because such psychological levels become a balance point where both buyers are looking for profit realizations and new investors are hesitantly trying to enter the market. However, if the price stays in this zone and makes another upward move, then it is quite likely that a structure will be formed that can move strongly towards the 3,272 level. The prerequisite for this is a clear break of this current resistance level and voluminous candle closes above it. The most important point that traders should pay attention to here is that the third wave is now starting to mature. If the price does indeed start a move towards the 3,272 level, it is important to keep in mind that a correction wave is also imminent as we approach the end of this move. Because every third wave is technically followed by a fourth wave, and this correction is a critical stage for many traders to reevaluate their positions. However, our focus at the moment is that the upside potential is still strong. It is also important to keep in mind that such wave movements need to be supported not only by technical structures, but also by fundamental factors such as macroeconomic developments, news flows, and investor sentiment. If this wave is not only based on technical analysis, but also on the overall positive sentiment in the market, then the 3,272 level becomes not only achievable but also surpassable. In conclusion, we are currently facing a price pattern that is moving in the third wave of the Elliott wave theory. The price has already tested the theoretical target of 2,272. If this resistance zone is broken upwards in volume, the next target will be technically directed towards the 3,272 level. At this point, it is extremely important for investors to carefully monitor both technical levels and market dynamics in order to get the maximum benefit from the rise. Because such third wave scenarios are one of the most aggressive and lucrative periods of the markets, and one should not ignore these signals offered by technical analysis in order to make the right use of the opportunities. And the longest wave is the third wave. When we take a detailed look at the RSI indicator, there is a horizontal support level that has been visibly formed. This is an important threshold that the RSI has repeatedly touched in the past, and each time it has done so, the price has reacted strongly upwards. In technical analysis, such repeated contacts indicate that the relevant level is no longer an ordinary zone, but a support line that is taken into account by traders. In other words, given that the RSI's previous contacts with this level stopped the downward momentum and the price faced renewed buying pressure, the chances of this level working once again are quite high. In the current situation, even though the RSI indicator has experienced a slight pullback along with the price, it has yet to fully reach this strong support level. However, depending on the continuation of price action and market momentum, the RSI is likely to approach this support again. If the RSI makes a second or even a third descent towards this area, it is quite possible that buyers will re-engage as before and the indicator will react upwards from this level. This means that not only the RSI may turn, but also the price may regain some upward momentum. This is because such reversals in the RSI are usually directly reflected on the price chart. One of the most important things to note here is that the RSI at this support level exhibits not only a superficial pause, but also a significant change in direction. This change in direction is often supported by strong buying volumes, indicating that the overall sentiment in the market has changed. If the RSI makes a sharp reversal from this point and starts a move above the 50 level, this could be considered a buy signal for both short-term and medium-term traders. Also, looking at past price action and the history of the RSI's relationship with this support, we can see that volatility usually increases at this level, and new buyers enter the market. This means that if the RSI makes a descent back down to this critical level and starts an upside breakout from there, it is quite likely that the price will bounce upwards from the support level in parallel. Especially if a positive mismatch in the RSI is observed, this would indicate that the market is now in a recovery trend rather than a bearish one. As a result, this prominent support zone on the RSI indicator is currently of critical importance, both technically and psychologically. If the price continues to retrace and the RSI touches this level again, a strong reversal is likely to follow. This reversal could not only be an upside breakout of the RSI level, but also the beginning of a new bullish wave on the price chart. So this is a potential breakout point that traders should pay special attention to, as it could herald a possible new uptrend. Yes, friends, I hope you liked the video. If you subscribe to my channel and like the video, more videos will be coming. Be careful in your investments, analyze the risks correctly, and always take strategic steps. I will be with you with different analyses, investment opportunities, and technical information in my videos. I wish you all a lot of profit. See you soon.